Thanks for tuning in to Tesla Shorts Time Daily, episode 444. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Today is April 22nd, 2026. There's a lot to cover in Tesla land today. Here's what's making news in the Tesla Shorts Time world today. The European market delivered some encouraging news for electric vehicles, with sales across the region up 11% in March. Tesla, along with several Chinese brands, helped drive much of that growth. It is a clear sign that in parts of Europe, the electric vehicle transition still has real momentum. At the same time, this growth is not uniform and depends heavily on local incentives and fuel prices. From a business perspective, these regional differences matter because they affect how Tesla allocates production and tailors its offerings. The fact that both Tesla and the Chinese makers led the way suggests customers are responding to value, price, and technology rather than brand loyalty alone. That patchwork reality is exactly why the conversation about who Tesla is actually competing against is changing. Ford's CEO was quite blunt in his assessment of the current landscape. He noted that Tesla has not delivered enough fresh product updates recently. More notably, he pointed to BYD as the competitor that deserves the closest attention instead of traditional automakers. This reflects a broader shift in the industry toward highly efficient Chinese manufacturers who are moving quickly on cost and scale. The competitive landscape is no longer just about legacy car companies with their large dealer networks and brand recognition. It is increasingly about who can deliver compelling vehicles at aggressive price points while improving technology at a rapid pace. For Tesla, this means the pressure is real, but it also clarifies where the real battle is being fought. While the pressure from China grows, Tesla is quietly locking in more of the hardware it needs on the AI side. Samsung is reportedly tripling its DRAM supply to Tesla, according to recent reports. The increased demand comes from both the infotainment and computing systems inside the vehicles and the expanding AI training clusters. This move represents a significant scaling of the underlying hardware foundation. From a technology and supply chain perspective, it is a quiet indicator that Tesla continues to invest heavily in the infrastructure for its AI ambitions. Securing this level of memory supply now suggests confidence in future compute requirements across the board. It also highlights how the AI side of the business is becoming a major driver of component demand. That heavier compute demand is showing up in the car too, with a new voice model rolling out. Tesla has started deploying a new voice model across its fleet of vehicles. The aim is to create a more natural-sounding in-car assistant that feels less robotic in daily use. Owners often notice software improvements like this more than headline specifications because they interact with the voice system on every drive. From a product experience standpoint, these updates can meaningfully improve satisfaction without requiring any hardware changes. It is the kind of iterative progress that keeps the existing fleet feeling current and cared for. Tesla has always leaned on over-the-air updates to evolve the ownership experience, and this appears to be the latest example. Staying on the product side, there is a fresh look at the Model Y variant that is carrying a lot of volume. A new analysis breaks down 5 key highlights of the Model Y L Premium. This version seems tailored for specific markets, with particular attention to range, build quality, and the features that have made the Model Y such a strong global seller. It is encouraging to see Tesla continue refining its highest volume vehicle rather than standing still. The focus on these attributes suggests the company is listening to what different regional customers actually value most. In a competitive market where buyers have more choices, every small improvement in the Model Y helps maintain its position. Not all the product news is positive, though, and there is new NHTSA complaint data worth putting in context. The Model S currently leads in complaints per 10,000 vehicles, according to the latest figures. That number understandably raises eyebrows for owners and prospective buyers alike. Yet it is important to note that most of the top 10 vehicles on the list are still traditional gas-powered models. The data does not erase legitimate frustrations some owners are experiencing, but it does sit inside a broader industry picture. Tesla has always encouraged transparent reporting, and this is part of that reality. As the company pushes the boundaries of both performance and software, the complaint profile can look different from conventional cars. Let's step back from the weekly headlines for 2 evergreen segments that explain bigger pictures a lot of new listeners ask about. Battery chemistry has evolved considerably over the past decade. and different regions are placing very different bets on what matters most. Early lithium-ion cells relied heavily on cobalt, which created cost and ethical challenges around mining. The industry then moved toward NMC chemistries with varying nickel-manganese and cobalt ratios to boost energy density and range. Tesla used these in many early Model 3 and Model Y vehicles, especially where highway range was a top priority. In China, the focus shifted strongly to LFP lithium iron phosphate because it is cheaper, more stable, and offers excellent longevity with thousands of cycles. That approach allowed aggressive pricing and reduced dependence on scarce metals, even if the energy density is lower. Europe finds itself in the middle, balancing strict efficiency rules with growing concerns about supply chain resilience. Some brands stick with high nickel cells for performance image, while others adopt LFP to hit price targets. Tesla's own 4680 cells represent another bet by going tabless and larger in diameter to cut manufacturing costs and improve thermal performance. The structural pack enabled by these cells also reduces weight and complexity, which improves overall vehicle efficiency. What stands out is how the definition of good enough varies by market. North America often chases the biggest range number, while China emphasizes cost per kilometer over the full life of the vehicle. Tesla's vertical integration gives it the flexibility to use different chemistries in different factories, which is becoming a genuine strategic advantage. After batteries, the question I get most often is, how does full self-driving actually work under the hood? The hardware journey began with Autopilot Hardware 2, then moved to HW3 with custom neural network chips. HW4 added more cameras and greater processing power, and HW5 is on the horizon. The bold philosophical change came when Tesla went vision-only, removing radar and relying on 8 cameras because humans drive primarily with their eyes. Inside the system, an occupancy network builds a real-time 3-dimensional understanding of the world around the car, rather than simple flat bounding boxes. The planning layer now uses transformer models that learn from millions of miles of real-world data instead of hand-coded rules. This contrasts with companies like Waymo that use multiple sensor types and operate in geofenced, mapped areas with backup operators. Tesla's approach is to improve everywhere at once because every customer vehicle collects data with no geographic limits. The bet is that massive real-world data plus neural networks will ultimately scale better and more affordably than adding complexity at the hardware level. There is still work ahead on regulatory approval and edge cases, but the architecture is built on copying the most successful driver on the planet, which is collective human experience. It is an engineering philosophy that explains why Tesla talks so much about its data advantage. These two deep topics, batteries and full self-driving, really are the long-term bets that matter. While weekly sales numbers and competitive noise will continue to fluctuate, the progress in chemistry flexibility and in the vision-based AI architecture will shape what Tesla becomes over the next decade. Before we go, keep an eye on how the new voice model performs in owner feedback and any further signals on AI hardware scaling. That's your Tesla news for today. TSLA closed at $386.42, down $2.57, 0.7%. If you found this useful, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.